All right, you guys, so tonight's topic is Set the Tone. Our guest this evening is a dope spoken word artist who will have you in deep thought. I am excited to catch up with him to discuss his journey with you all. So Touch the World family, help me welcome our guest this evening, Seth Diversifier.
What up, what up, what up?
All right. So look, we just want to get to know you a little bit. So can you first tell us where you grew up and where you from?
Yeah, you mind if I, tell the people a poem first?
Go ahead, open this up.
Yeah, I usually introduce myself with my intro, so what's the deal, y'all? My name is Seth Diversifier, and I'm here to diversify the way that you've been trained to think. I'm here to tell you a vivid story with words so simple you might miss it if you blink, but peep. I'm a poetical savage, yet articulate and lavish, so close your eyes, sit back, relax, and just imagine. I'll be a man holier than Mount Zion. Depicted in the text of hieroglyphs, my melanin be the gold the world can't seem to take its eye off of. I'm high off love, and the culture have my reverence. Your praise be to my ancestors, their prayers have bared fruit into the existence of my presence, and the thought of a queen who could bear my seed is the greatest of presents. Silk be the material of my linen, and better than of all the pleasantries. If I don't let this light shine, I'll be damned, and it'll be my biggest regret if I don't show you. I just want you to see the beauty in your soul, and for you to know that it's heaven sent. Ashe. Yeah, and so I think that's a cool introduction of me a little bit. I'm a poet. I'm from Inglewood. And then what else did you ask before I started the poem?
Where'd you grow up?
Yeah. So I grew up in Inglewood. I grew up in the avenues over there on like Century and Crenshaw, around the area. Yeah, and I've been there my whole life. Plan on getting buried in the cemetery in Inglewood, so I don't plan on leaving.
Yeah.
And
dope. Yeah. Okay, so who is Seth Diversifier?
Seth Diversifier, he's just a black dude, a poet, talking to his people, telling them about their blackness and how beautiful it is.
Yeah.
Seth, the name, it comes from it's the Egyptian god of chaos. His name is Seth. And so I just want everything that I do to be rooted in blackness and for it to reflect the community and, touch the people in the way where it touched me.
Yeah.
And so I try not to really perform to the people as much as I try to talk to them. I'll be trying to talk to the people.
Yeah.
And so I really don't know how to, tell you, who Seth Diversifier is. I could describe you, what puts him together, but who he is, it'd be pretty tough to pinpoint.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us that then. Tell us what puts Seth Diversifier together.
Well, it's just a knowledge and a history of like interacting with the people, I guess. Growing up in Inglewood, being in that community and seeing the things that I saw, being from over there, and then being in my school setting. I know we talk about schools later, but a lot of the times I went to all black schools, and so being cultivated in the space of blackness. But at the same time, living in the city that I was living in, gives you like a dual perspective of like life and like what really be going on and like how to operate. And so, seeing all that stuff and then like knowing like the history and the traditions of blackness and like seeing like how our community is like it's not at the pinnacle of the standard of what it could be because people, they haven't really been taught about how to become that. And when you got to figure it out, it'd be tough to figure it out. And so for people to consistently do that, you got to teach them to do that. Like it got to be ingrained in like how you like raise the kids. It got to that's what culture is, like tradition and stuff. And so I see some of the things that like we lacking from our culture and tradition, and like being raised in the community that like focuses on like the history, like you learn some of the culture and tradition, and so being able to see like what's lacking and like where we come from and like how to articulate it to the people. I think that's what pieces Seth Diversifier together is, that you know, just someone who want to talk to the people because we missing some stuff, and I think y'all need to know.
Yeah. I appreciate that because that's part of the reason why I started doing what I was doing. I started writing back in 2017 articles about the history of how we got to this place. And so I'm about the finance part because I think that there's a lot of knowledge missing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are, as a community, you'll see a bunch of people buying a whole bunch of Jordans, but you're not financially stable.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money to be spending on some shoes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I seen you at the, where did I see you at King Q's event?
Yeah, the Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, I was like, yo, this is, like, you spoke to what I'm doing,
Yeah.
but it was in a different way. So I'm like, yo, this is crazy. You know, you need to be in front of the people. This is like somebody you want to, like, hey, go tell them, like, tell them what they need to hear.
Yeah, you know, we be talking about black dollars over here too, man, and circulating in the community, and so.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I appreciate is that the people, they be receptive to what I be telling them, and I know that they be receptive to it because I know what I'm telling them, you know, it speaks to everybody because we all on that, you feel me, trying to be better in our own lane. You just got to figure out what your lane is, and I think, I forgot what you said when you opened up, but I was going to tell you, I think you said something about your purpose, and I think we all got to figure it out, and once you figure it out, it make it easy to exist because I think my purpose is just be talking to the people, and so you know, it don't really take me nothing to do that. You know, come out here and talk to y'all. Right. So I think it's the same with you. Once you know you realize that your avenue is the black dollar, is all you gotta do is keep that in constant mind and keep it in motion as you live life, and you know you operate in a way where it's just gonna be fluid.
Facts. Yeah. All right. So what schools did you attend?
Well, you know, where I went to high school at, I went to Sarah High School. Yeah, we realized we got that Cavalier in us.
Oh, hell.
And so before that, I went to a school in Inglewood called Class Cultural Language Academy of Success. I went to Warren Lane for a little bit. I went to Marcus Garvey for a little bit. And so I think that's my rundown of the schools, you know. But one of the schools that stuck out to me the most probably was Class, the school that it was right across the street from Inglewood High. It was a charter school, so you know they didn't have too much funding, but you know they taught us a lot about blackness. Our whole curriculum was centered around that, like the history, the science, the mathematics of it all. You know, it was all catered to blackness, our conduct and everything, and so. Being like that every day, it puts you in the mindset of, you know, the people.
Right. No, that's important. At least having some level of education in that, because majority of the schools I went to was mixed, but when I got to college, I finally got a chance to go to a HBCU, and that was a whole different experience. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's the rich, like, you feel everything when you're there. Yeah. Like, you feel the oppression. You feel, like, I used to say this is devil's playland because I felt what was going on before, but I didn't know that's what I was feeling. Yeah. You know, we were just kind of like acting out what was going on before. You know what I'm saying? So much deep in you know, rich history there. Yeah,
and for college, I went to Dominguez, and so I've been in LA my whole life. But I understand what you're saying, like, you know, you being able to feel that because you say at first you didn't know what you was feeling because you was feeling it alone.
Yeah.
When you're in the community and you feel it and you start to see how everybody react to the same thing, you know, it lets you know that one, like, your feelings, they affirmed, you know, they're right and you feeling that way. And also, this is what that feeling is and this is how we get over it because everybody feeling like that, and so we can use each other to, you know, build from it.
Right.
And I think that's the most important thing about any black space, including HBCU, is that the community is there.
Yeah.
I think like Dominguez, they used to say was like the HBCU the West, but that was like 2006 because, you know, the population was so black that everywhere you go is black people, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think if you in a space like that, they feel the same type of energy, but now, you know, the population of black people are probably like less than 10%. And so now when you're going through things in the community, you don't have that same support, you don't have that same feeling, and you're feeling it alone.
Yeah.
And so I think that, you know, all of our kids, our youth, are looking to go into HBCUs, you know, so that way they could be around the community and, you know, have that feeling.
Right. Okay, so let's get into my favorite part. How did we meet? And I talked about it a little bit, but what do you remember about our first meeting?
Our first meeting was at the taco night, right?
Yep.
My fault, I was laughing at One of the comments on the live, he said HBCU over everything. He said Cali could never. Rude to the dog. We met at the Taco Tuesday, and I think I saw you vending your material, and that's what stuck out to me first was the material on the table and this message that it had. Black money matters. And then after we talked about that, I think we had just connected on the level of blackness.
Yeah.
And then from there, anybody who you talk to who's on that level of blackness, we gonna want to build the community because we community based.
Right.
And so I think it just went from there. Went out there, had some tacos, chopped it up, and now we're here.
I remember just seeing, like, first of all, your aura says something before you can meet you. You know, because I remember you were just sitting around. We were setting up. You was just sitting around peeping. And I'm like, who is this cat?
Yeah, I just be chilling.
Right. I'm like, who is this dude? And so then, when he introduced you, just the way you walked up there was like, it was empowered. You know what I mean? Like, that spoke through.
Yeah, and I attribute everything to my upcoming of blackness, but going through it like that, your history and like what your worth is, and then coming to it, and so being able to walk in that light every day, like consciously, like I think that's what it really is. It's just knowing, like I am who I am, and I'm perfectly, imperfectly, what I'm supposed to be,
right.
And me walking in the light that I'm walking in, it's either gonna shine or it's not, and so you're gonna get it how it come, and when you walk like that, can't nobody really tell you nothing,
right.
Already know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so you just hold that aura in you, and I think it shine out sometimes.
Yeah, and then when you start, your voice is like, oh, okay, we gotta listen to this.
Everywhere I go, once I start talking, the people start to listen.
It definitely captures the room. But we got a dope show for you guys this evening, but we're gonna take our first break, so we'll be right back with Seth Diversifier, so y'all stay tuned.
Yeah.
You are tuned in to Touch the World Radio Show, the Out of the Box podcast edition. We are joined in studio with our special guest, Seth Diversifier.
What up?
All right, so Seth, let's talk about your journey writing poetry. When did that begin?
I've probably been doing poetry since my past life. It's just always been something that's been a part of me. And so first time I remember probably performing the poem, probably like third grade. For like a little talent show they was doing at the school. It wasn't nothing special. And then next thing I remember probably was like 8th grade, and that one wasn't nothing special neither. But everybody, they liked that one. They thought it was funny because I was upset and didn't write it the way I was supposed to. So everybody thought it was a joke. So some of the homies they still remember right now. We went to open mic the other day, and one of them got up there acting stupid and said it. And then after that, it just be like that's when the journey really began. After that. High school, they got like different clubs and stuff. Poetry was one of them. And so my homegirl, she started the club. And so since she started it and I knew I did it, I was like, all right, I'll participate. And so high school, I was involved with poetry, with the conscious writing and performing of poetry. And then when I got to college, I went to the open mic, just to sit there. And, sometimes when you hear something like it trigger you to speak. And so I probably went up there once or twice, and then the people who curated that space, they had an open mic, not open mic, they had a slam team at the school, and so I joined the slam team, and then that got you traveling, saying poem, and so again, consciously writing, but writing for the purpose of like, to be scaled on a point scale for competition, and so that in UNLV, we went to Fresno, we went to the national competition in New York, and then after that, I probably stopped doing poetry for a while, and then now that I'm doing it now, I've probably been back for like 2 years. I think I was telling you earlier, and so that's been my journey with poetry. But even now, when I was doing it for the competition's sake, I think that was as serious as I was taking it. In the stage that I'm in now, I just be talking to the people.
Okay.
Yeah, and so ain't nobody scoring me no more. So it's more of a free write. You do your thing, and then whoever receptive to it, they receive it, and then whoever is not, I'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, got you. Okay, so you began performing like in the third grade then, technically, right?
Uh, yeah, let's say that. We could say maybe prior to that, but that's the
Mm,
first time that we got an event in history that we could recall. Yeah,
got you.
but
Okay, so
I was doing it, and so I didn't just get up and be like, oh yeah, I'm about to do a poem. Like that was already something that like I had thought that I was good at enough to be like, oh, they doing this. Like I'm gonna insert myself with a poem, and
got
so
you.
I don't know when it started, but that's the first time it was like, all right, like
Mm,
I'm gonna do it.
okay, and
Yeah.
when did you get to that point where it's like I'm talking from a point of blackness?
Uh, man, I think I always been talking from a point of blackness. I think in the beginning it was just from the perspective of somebody who growing up, the way that they growing up as a perspective of blackness, and then it transitioned into from a perspective of the culture of blackness.
Mm,
But I think since the beginning, I've been talking about blackness. It ain't never changed, and I don't plan on doing too many things outside of blackness, and so
yeah,
that's why my name, everything I do, I try to root it in blackness.
right.
Um, and not necessarily that I even try to. It's just that be the life I'm living,
Mm,
and so it'd be hard for me to do anything else, really.
okay.
Yeah, sometimes I'll be doing projects for people and they want you to write something, and I gotta sit there and think like, man, what I'm about to write, and I gotta like really like maybe sit there and just breathe and be like, let me recenter myself in blackness, and then something will come out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So sometimes it work like that. You gotta just go back to the basics, but that's the basics for me.
Okay. When did you find your voice?
Um,
Was it after puberty?
man, I don't know. It definitely was after puberty. Yeah, nah. Prior to puberty, nobody was stopping listening to my voice. That might have been more recent.
Okay.
When I was doing it, and it's tough to say because my whole life they've been listening to me.
Okay.
They'll stop and listen,
Mm,
and then but the older I got, I didn't slow down. I don't say it as fast.
mm,
I don't say it as aggressive. You angry adolescents, you just be screaming at the people,
yeah.
and so
That's how it started.
yeah, it kind of got more of me talking,
Mm,
and so like the tone changed.
okay.
Going from like angry, talking to the people, or like to just talking to them.
Yeah.
And so when the voice changed, they listened before, but now they listening too,
Yeah.
but they listening in a different way now because now they telling you like, oh yeah, like it's something about your voice. Before they were like, it's something about you. And
Yeah.
you can't really place it. But now they be like, yeah, it's something about your voice.
This is something to say about the the stages you go
Yeah.
through, like as a black person realizing your reality.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You go from like, hold up, this don't make sense, to hold up, that's BS,
Yeah.
to all right, so this is how everything went down, and this is why we need to do so and so and so and so.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I'm in that space where I can explain, but before it was like, so y'all don't see this, like y'all for real?
Yeah. Now, since the beginning, they told me that they lying to us, and they said the perception of whatever you living in is what you make it.
Mm,
And after I learned them two things and really started to live and embody it, I knew like they out here lying to us,
mm-hmm.
and whatever I want to do, I could do it. And I think that those are important things to live by. I think that a lot of people like they go through like their little self care, self love journeys. Where they learn to love on themselves.
Mm,
And I think that those things are important because it teach you who you are, and then like once you figure out who you are, like you walk in that light.
yeah.
But we just take too long as a people to find out like what life we gonna walk in, and so I realized that mine was talking to the people because I have been doing it for so long, and now they telling me like, oh yeah, like we like what you're saying, and so I'm realizing like, okay, like me just doing this naturally, it gotta be what I'm here for.
Right, right, right.
And so I think that people they just need to figure out what they're here to do naturally, and then walking in that light,
Yeah.
you'll figure out where you fit, and then once you circulate that into the community, they gonna feel it so genuinely from you because that's what you placed here to do that. Like they gonna tell you come back, we want you to do that again.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what it really be about, and that's what I really be trying to tell the people is that you can do anything, you just gotta feel it because they'll feel it too.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay. So, how did you know poetry was something that you wanted to pursue?
I ain't know. I still don't know. I wouldn't really say that I'm pursuing it.
Okay.
You know, I just be talking to the people. But you know, as I'm talking to the people, I do have things that I'm gonna try to stop saying because I heard myself the last 2 times. I try to have things lined up that I want to do, and since I want to do it, I'm gonna do it. But it'd be things like the book. You know, two dudes came to me and said, you know, they want to do a book, and it's like, all right, like, you know, this is about blackness, and y'all feeling it how I feel it, so we can do the book.
Yeah.
You know, I got videos that I want to do because I like some of the poems so much that I want to do videos, and so now people gonna get to see videos because I want to do videos, or like I want to drop more poems, and so the only way people gonna see it is if I make videos for the poems, and so now I'm doing videos for poems that, you know, I just want people to see.
Right.
And so it's not, you know, something that it's like I gotta do this or I'm not gonna be able to do poetry. It's more like I'm gonna just go over here and do this because I want to do it, and it just happened to end up being something that's related to poetry because that's what I want to do.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, you guys. So we're gonna take our second break. We'll be right back with Seth Diversifier. So y'all stay tuned. Seth Diversifier, talk to the people.
What's the deal, y'all? You know, we over here talking about setting that tone, man, living in a life of blackness, man. Y'all tap in.
You are tuned in to Touch the World Radio Show. In case you're just joining us, we're joining the studio with our special guest, Seth Diversifier. So the man's going to open us up with another one of his poems. Y'all take a listen to this because you know it's going to be fire.
I can manifest the material, just a little verbal alliteration. Pen, petal, and paper presents perfect, passionate presentations and poetry. Look how beautiful it is when I create it. All through the concept of Midas, everything turns to gold as soon as I lift it up to demonstrate it, and it shines like the gloss of my skin under the hot sun of the summer. For we are already born perfect, and all we have to know is we can create perfect, and our life would be full of manifested wonders. I say.
All right, y'all. So this is the vibe that we on. So let me ask you this. Do you have any new poems in the works? Are you working on anything at the moment?
Yeah, I got some new poems. Right now I'm working on this project. I'm trying to stop saying my fault. I'm working on this project with one of the women of our community. She came to me with the idea of doing a poem centered around intimacy, I believe the poem was about originally.
Okay.
And then once we did the poem and shot the video for it, she saw that she liked it, and now we're doing a series on the love languages.
Dope.
And so we're gonna do 5 poems. We're gonna film them and we're gonna release them, and hopefully it'll be done before the end of this year. So you know, maybe you guys can get it by January.
Yeah.
I'll be doing those late night erotic poetry nights, and so I got a new sex poem.
Okay.
You know, I'll be doing all those. And then just constantly throughout the day writing. Sometimes, you know, you be doing something and it hits you like, this may be something that sounds good, and so I write it down, jot it down, come back to it later.
Yeah.
And so, you know, constantly just jotting stuff down, but consciously writing. I probably got like 2 or 3 new things that I'm either working on or just finished up or been finished not too long.
Okay. Can you tell us about your book, the book that you got right here?
Yeah, this is her. Heaven's Epitome Realized. It's an ode to black women. And so the book is me and 2 other dudes. We co-authored it. This is the 3 of us.
Okay.
We on this page. And we all put 10 poems in there each. And it's basically just, you know, our loves, our affections, our frustrations, anything that we feel towards the women in our community that we wanted to express. But, you know, we doing it out of love.
Nice.
And so we just wanted to highlight the women in our community because something that we all thought was important is that, you know, there's a divide in our community once you get to, you know, the different, you know, subsections of what's going on in the community. But particularly there's one between, you know, the men and the women. the way that we communicate, the way that we function with each other, the way that we perceive the other. And some of it, it be rooted in like things from like childhood or trauma. But some things they just be stereotypical, and people live off that. And so we realized that with this gap, even the people who are supposed to be like the voices of our community often don't reflect well the thoughts that we have of the women of our community. And so we just wanted to speak for ourselves and let the women of the community know that we're thinking of them, and not in a promiscuous or a negative way, but we genuinely be thinking about y'all. And so we wanted to share that.
Okay.
And so that's what the book is. We hope that everyone enjoys it when they take a look at it.
And where can they find it?
It's on Amazon. If you go to Amazon and type in Her Heaven's Epitome Realized, it should pop up. The cover is this black lady with the stars in her hair. And if you run across me, I got them. I got copies, physical copies. They $10 if you get them from me. Amazon, they may be somewhere between 10 and 15. They listed at 15, but Amazon, they give you deals every now and then. And so,
okay.
Either me or Amazon.
Got you. Okay. What's the mission behind your poetry?
The mission behind the poetry is to spread blackness, spread the culture, spread love, allow people to listen to something that triggers them to be more self-aware, more self-conscious of who they are, what they should be doing, how they should interact with themselves, for them to know that, in a world full of judgment, the judgment don't really matter, and so you got to put your blinders on, because they'll sway you from doing what you meant to do, because it'll make you feel comfortable in the eyes of judgment. And so to, just be authentically yourself in whatever, shape that takes.
Yeah.
And it don't matter, what it is, but to do that. And so I think that's the overall message.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you run into any adversity on this journey?
No, I haven't really had any adversity because I don't have any goals or any strict, intentions. And so there's nothing that I've been disappointed about. I done went to like places and people done told me to sign up, and I signed up, and I've been doing this for a while, and know the poems I'm gonna say, and they ain't never heard me before, and then they'll be like, we got you on the list, and then they overlook you and you never go, so that type of stuff.
Okay.
But I think that that's a part of being at open mics.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't get called, and you got to take that, but still do your thing. And I think outside of that, could nothing else be seen as adversity, because I'll talk to 2 people, I'll talk to 10.
Yeah.
I done probably been in the room the most is probably 1,500, and so it don't really matter, because I'm just talking to them.
Yeah, got you. Okay, so what's the most important lesson you feel like you've learned on the journey?
I don't know. I don't know if I've learned an important lesson on the journey. I think all of my important lessons were learned prior to the journey, and that's what put me on it, so that way I knew to tell y'all. But maybe the more that I go, I'll be learning more. But I think it's just about the connectivity of the people, learning how to go into a room of people from all different stations of life and talking to them about what you want to talk to them about, and they all feeling it. And so that's something that I've learned is, how to speak first, get everyone my intro quiet, and then tell them what I want to tell them, and the way that I'm telling it to them. I didn't been around people enough to know like how people gonna be receptive to hearing certain things, and so I tell it to them like that, and then them processing it. I done figured out how to say stuff in a way where people can process it in a way where, they might miss the next line, but while they're processing what they're processing, they really like, touching, because they sit there and they thinking like, damn, like, this really triggered this in me. And so just the communication of, our people. And so I think that's something that I learned is I know how to talk to people.
Okay.
I can get them to understand something that I'm trying to get them to understand, even if I gotta like struggle to find the words, like, you gonna understand, like, I'll paint a picture for you.
Yeah. Okay.
But I can't really paint, so, not physically.
All right. So what I want you to do is take us out before we go on our next break. Take us with one more poem.
All right. this one is new, and then I just be writing stuff just to have fun with writing. And so they brought us to the altar, told us, look out into the abyss, and you might as well pray to the Almighty Father. Ask for forgiveness from sorrow and rejoice that you don't have the pain of living through tomorrow. You're a martyr. The people's champion, Dwayne The Rock, Michael Carter, and this be the funeral. Mahogany caskets into the sky, it's set to be beautiful, a musical. Singing songs in your honor is the least the people will do for you. Bearing books hold the tales filled with legends of the people who made it this far through life's crucibles. You wanted a few of them. 10 toes down, you stayed true to them. Tombstone reads, immaculate, but died all the same, and in the end, I should have lived life thinking more about me. Ashe.
All right, y'all. So we're going to take our final break. We'll be right back with Seth Diversifier. So y'all sit tight. You are tuned in to Touch the World Radio Show, Season 2, Episode 2 of the Out of the Box podcast. We are joined in studio with Seth Diversifier. So y'all just heard like 3 pieces from him. So y'all hear his voice. Y'all hear what he got going on. This dude is powerful. So y'all check out his book called Her. Heaven.
Made me realize.
There we go.
Ode to Black Women.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon. Check it out.
All right. So before we get into some more poetry, what advice would you have for aspiring poetry artists? Spoken word artists.
I think for someone aspiring to be a poet, I would advise to you, and this would be advice just generally to a poet, not someone who is necessarily pushing the same message that I'm pushing, or any type of particular thing, but just someone who's interested in poetry. It would be to think about like what you're trying to do, and like define like what that is, and then to do it. Because like, so for an example, say if someone wanted to be like a spoken word artist, like a poet, and so to do that type of poetry, spoken word, you gotta perform in front of a people, and so you be classified as a performer. And so like what type of performance are you doing? It will be poetry, and so like how you gonna convey this performance of like poetry to these people, so that they can understand what you're saying, but still get the feel of the spoken word. And so breaking it down to like the minuscule detail of that, so like for certainty, like this is what I'm doing. And I think when you know that, then you could do whatever you want, because you've already defined like what you're doing. And so it don't really matter what come after, like I'm gonna be doing this.
Right.
It give you direction to go in. And so after that, once you know your direction, your journey is limitless. You could, travel forever down that road.
Right. Okay. All right. So we got what, about 10 minutes. All right. So the floor is yours.
All right, 10 minutes?
Yep.
All right, for sure. These tales be a little bit different. They're mixtures of melanation and righteousness, some immaculate shit that you couldn't find in any ordinary kitchen, and Lord is my witness. Can't no one else whip it this consistent. They not potent enough to travel the adequate distance. They be missing. I hit it from all sides and might mess around and give you an impromptu revision, so y'all keep listening, addicted to this sickness, this prism of blackness, this active, eternal, and everlasting. Every drop is an instant classic, and y'all can't tell whether I'm talking about me or the blackness, and that's our magic. Y'all don't be afraid of black magic. Ashe. Everywhere I go, I try to tell the people something about blackness, and so there's always these false perceptions or false narratives of something that's black and what aura it holds. And so I wrote that piece because black magic, people always think of it as negative voodoo, witchcraft. And so to consciously place black magic in your head of a different narrative of something benevolent, you just think about it differently.
Yeah.
And so to give you a different perspective. And so I try to do that with the poetry.
That's real.
The color black, defined by one of its many definitions, is described as the darkest color. It's the result of the absence or the complete absorption of visible light, like you wasn't made to feed off of its energy. Like we not the chosen people of melanation. Like the sun, not our vessel of strength, like Superman when the kryptonite got him lost in days, then out of space. It's described as related to black people. Like Alkibulon, not the home of origin for the entire human race. It's crazy how America done erased world history and now our people think like theirs. We've developed ourselves in caves. Got us thinking our story starts as slaves, like that of the valley of the shadow of death be a part of our souls. Its history courses through our veins. Our time before that so drenched in riches. Mansa Musa about the only depiction I'd bust down on a gold rope link chain. It's defined as very evil or wicked. Like my black can't be beautiful too. Like if my hoodie match my complexion, don't ask me no questions. I'm already guilty, just shoot. One definition reads deeply stained of dirt. Like Grandmother Willow's roots ain't been feeding me the songs of the wind since my conception. This connection predates my birth. It's a part of our heritage and culture to be tapped into with the earth. Let me pour out some for the dead homies to nurture their spirit and spread their aura into the universe. That shit black like. That shit dope like. I done broke down a couple of grams of some of that black girl magic and smoked it till it put a twitch in my soul. That shit bold, blacker than the darkest cup of coffee. Her berries juicy, sweet like a warm, tender soul. Black like the Panther Party, I'll be to knock your ass out cold. Black as the pit be from pole to pole. Black as the fuck. Black like lift every voice and sing. Black like power. That's the movement that made us say, fuck what the definition reads. My black strong, my black beautiful, my black is a beacon of light. My black is poetry shit. Y'all can just call me brother to the night. Black like I'm the blues in your left eye, try to become the funk in your right. Black like Stevie Wonder, this shit is way out of sight. Black like JJ from Good Times, my shit is dynamite. Yo, black like the rose that grew from concrete but nobody else cared. Like we done poured life into this watered down definition and blossomed into a badge of honor we wear, like the naps and the curls in the kitchen of my head. Black like this vibranium pipe from Wakanda that I done just laid down on you in my bed. Yo, black is the bar we set. Yo, black is the gorgeous symphony orchestrated from the strings of God's harp, and you better not never forget it. Black be whatever we make it. Yo, I reckon I started to write me a dictionary the other day, and a synonym for the word black was greatness. Described us as the most hated. Wish they could be like us, but some shit just too authentic to be fucking replicated. Listed it as a verb because it don't define me as a person, but you gotta play out the part of how you want your story to be commemorated, and I want y'all to remember me in blackness. Tell them how this God of darkness spoken to his people a self-loving type of action. Tell them how we relived our depiction of black until we kicked our feet up and laid our head back and read the definition and satisfaction and thought. God damn, I'm black. Ashe. I end all my poems with a Ashe. Ashe is an affirmation of the people. It's like you know, it is because it was and forever will be. You know, like so be it. And so I say Ashe, hoping that, you know, the people receive it in the manner that it was gifted to give them, because, you know, it is what it is, and you know, you should understand it to be that way, which is more beautiful than your, you know, negative insertion of those thoughts. And so I try to get them to, you know, hear me a little bit with Ashe. I'm gonna tell y'all one out the book because I think this only got time for one more, right? 5 minutes? All right, yeah, okay. And so this one is called The Greatest Love Story Never Told. Yo, I told myself I wasn't gonna do this no more. Not gonna lie and say that I never felt like this before, because yo, I didn't live long enough to feel like this many times and more, but something about this feel different. Got my heart fluttering off beat, some shit feel tricky. Using my hands trying to piece together the dots, trying to figure out shit what's good with me.
Yo, too many times I drop poems and lines that caresses a woman's mind, but don't stand the test of time. Just me auctioning off my heart for less than a dime. Just a quick dope-ass rhyme for another female who's divine, and then I find myself back here. Yo, in the studio, just me and the mic shit. Looking at y'all, asking myself if this movie really what my life is like. A feature film movie with a small low cast and a whole lot of blooper shit. I'm a trooper, but if I could set the scene with the first couple of words that come to my mind, like, we sitting in your homegirl's house around a twisted dime. Scene 1. Set stage. It's embarking upon the nighttime. Just me and you. I'm holding your hand, we listening to slow jams, and we sipping on some white wine. I'm staring into your eyes. I see the orange and blue skies with a couple of gray lines, and as the sun starts to set and those clouds start to clear, I see the constellations brightly shining, and a full moon is right behind them, and after time fades, it's becoming a new day, and we see the sun's red sky, and I look at it as it kisses your skin from your neck to your thigh, and I just wish that I had the heart to say what was on my mind, like my chest beat my vocal cords until I bleed the right line, but yo, I just stare at you rather than telling you you're beautiful. And don't act like this is new to you, because I told you I've been a fan since you first popped up out of the sand. When I first glanced at your face, I felt goofy like Max singing After Today, and you were Roxanne. I tripped and couldn't stand, tumbling down the stands, rolling over a group of trash cans, my face at the sand. I fell for you like golden brown leaves in the climax of autumn days. I'm dazed. When I first saw the light of your golden brown melanin wrapped up, I settled in the intoxication, the sheets, the toxins seeped into my pores. It was like you were 100 proof and my livers were new to this. I couldn't even be around you without getting love drunk. I was drunk off you. You're swaying side to side. Starting to see your freckles look like constellations in the sky. I'm looking like Harriet Tubman in 1855. Naturally, that got me to you, but I don't got a burning passion for freedom, nah. It's just my heart catching fire. It's more like Bob Marley writing music after he wakes up and gets high to the sunrise with the warm orange sky. Kinda like your skin's accent from your neck to your thigh. And zoom the camera out and pan to the side. Cut. Yeah, I'm gonna call that first scene legendary music in the sky. You see, I feel like I could never dream too high now. Let's see what the next scene gonna be like. Action. Scene 2, the setting is in constant motion. I'm really getting to know you. We back to reality. I'm choking on gravity. It seems to have me locked in this particular stance that I can't fathom. It's a bittersweet hell, locked up like Lazarus. This labyrinth of my dreams where you haunt me, you tease me. You've placed me in a small cage and I can't leave it. Gnawing at the gates, I'm like a taller teething. I'm trying to taste freedom. My heart is palpitating like my chest. 215s in the back of a Chevy. The whole block here would be jaw locked, tongue twisted. I can't really speak. I feel like my tongue is bench pressing soliloquies. I'm feeling claustrophobic. I can hardly breathe. It's hard to see and cut. Yo, scene 2, I'ma call it friend zoned with no perception of freedom. Been trapped in my thoughts and lost in my dreams, but when you see it in life, you realize it ain't as easy as you dreamed it. Sometimes you gotta give up and just be there when needed. So I'm done, I've conceded, but yo, my heart, it's still craving you like a needle to a fiend. And so maybe the druggie will be the title of the third scene. Action. I'm addicted to your passion. Zoom in. Everything's spoken like a queen, where even if she's wrong, you believe she's taking the right action. Now let's get an up and down pan in. Your sex appeal comes from you being an aggressive savage. Now fade into a flashback dream sequence. It's like you Princess Jasmine and I'm Aladdin. I recognize your godliness and I'm just trying to match it. Now fade out of the dream and zoom in the camera quick. I'm staring at your face, hoping one day I'm worthy of grabbing it, pulling you close and biting your bottom lip, kind of how you do, but a bit more passionate. I imagine it to be immaculate, but yo, fade out into a voiceover of me saying, but that's all I could do is imagine it and cut. Yo, and here I am, once again, in this studio, just me and the mic shit, looking at y'all, asking myself if this movie really what my life is like. I appreciate y'all for being black with me. Yo, once again, my name is Seth Diversifier. Y'all can tap in with me on Instagram if you really want to get with me on the back end. It's a win-win because I'm trying to get my followers up and y'all need to hear this blackness.
Yeah. Ashe. Y'all hear that? All right, y'all. So y'all just heard the sounds of Seth Diversifier. He is up and coming and he's killing it right now. So y'all tap in with him. You can find him on Instagram You can find him on. Are you on any other platforms?
Instagram, my main one, but I'll be on YouTube too, and so y'all can check me out on YouTube too.
All right, you guys. So we're gonna wrap up the show this evening. Thank you all for tuning in to the show with our in-studio guest, Seth Diversifier. We hope you enjoyed the show, but before we head out, please make sure to check out my website at jgotso.com. We have so much valuable content for you to check out. We also have merch for you to purchase as well that serves as a reminder that black money matters, so act like it. Be sure to get caught up on episodes 1 through 14 of Season 1 and stay up to date on Season 2 of the podcast. Head over to my YouTube page and subscribe to my YouTube channel at jgotso. All right, you guys, so we'll be back in the studio October 10th. You never know who we're going to have in the studio next, so y'all be sure to tap in. Thank you for joining us. We are out.